In today's video, I'm going to show you how I built this DIY drawer system for my Lexus GX470 for under $400, and the only power tools you'll need is a drill and a circular saw. So let's get into it. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Off-Road Campfires YouTube channel. My name is Ben. In today's video, we are finally building the drawer system for the GX. So pretty much for the idea of this drawer system is that we're going as budget friendly as possible while not trying to cut any corners on the structural side or functionality side. So I've got a couple pieces of plywood that Home Depot cut for me. Those are going to be the two biggest pieces, the bottom and the top. So those are 39 by 41, and that is going to be the base structure of this drawer system. I also picked up a couple of these particle boards from Restore. They were $3 each. So I think all in all, in materials plus screws and everything, we're about 50 to 60 bucks in right now. So not too bad on the wallet. My idea anyway is I want to have two drawers in here. The right one will be mainly just for storage, just overland gear, recovery equipment, camping bits and bobs that are going to have to go in there. And then the left side is going to be the kitchen. So that'll hold the grill, hold all the pots and pans, everything you need to make a nice home cooked meal out in the mountains. For today's goal, I want to have the structure built and maybe get started on one of the drawers. So let's get into it. I've just cut down this piece of particle board to the size that I want it. I've noticed because of the seat's slight recline, I'm gonna have to put an angle on the back side of the board there, but I just want to get a mock-up first of what it's gonna look like and if this is too tall or not tall enough. I cut this to 13 inches, so the drawers will be around 12.5 to 12.75 inches tall, which should be enough space for me. I have enough space for some headroom and extra stuff like the cooler back here. And in the future, I was thinking of also putting a sleeping platform when you fold the seats down. In case it's a little bit too sketch to sleep inside the tent, I like to have the option of sleeping inside the car too. So as you can see with the seats in the upright position, which they normally are, it is sticking out here a little bit, so there will have to be an angle. Mark the spot exactly where it overhangs. And then what we'll do is we'll cut from here to the top corner, and that should be the angle that I need. Okay, so I got my mark right here, so we're gonna go all the way from here to the top corner. There's my marker line, so that should be the angle I need. Like I said, should be. What I've been doing for the cutting is making a 1-inch guide for the saw to follow, and on the Ryobi circular saw here, that marker there is 1 inch away, so that's the reason for the 1-inch gap. Just so this lines up perfectly, we should take the right amount of material off. Once again, should. Okay, so we got our piece of wood cut. Now this is the real moment of truth to see if this idea worked. So it just touches the edge there, but perfectly straight there. And it aligns pretty well with the chair. And then over here, we are solid. Now that we have one piece perfectly cut, we have a template for the rest of the build. Okay, so we finally have all the supporting pieces cut. Before we start mounting it onto our platform here, I just want to get the platform measured out for installation first. So to mount this in, I'm going to be mounting it in 2 points. So this point back here and this point back here. These just pop up just like that. And it's a 10 mil underneath there. And then we'll take this whole assembly out right here. Okay, and I got some hardware all ready for it. I hope it's the right size. I guess now is the moment of truth. Yeah, we're good there. So now we need to line up the holes for the mounting hardware. So what I'm just gonna do is put a little bit of, hold on. I'm just gonna put a little bit of orange paint on the top of the bolts. And then when I lay the piece of plywood down, hopefully that will give me the 2 exact spots to drill my holes. So hope for the best. I don't want to mess this up. Okay, so it's about lined up exactly where I need it. Hopefully it doesn't shift all that much when I pick it up. Set that down. So as you can see, just a little dollop of paint on each side translates into my 2 mounting points. So I'm just gonna start really small and then work my way up just to prevent any problems. Perfect. I will be using washers on those when I am mounting them. Now that we've got our holes drilled, pretty much ready for assembly now. So I think what I'm gonna do is start with the side pieces. I'm gonna glue them first, and then I'm going to screw them in with some wood screws. And yeah, that's pretty much it, not much to it. Always important to drill a pilot hole, especially when you're drilling into the side of a piece of plywood. I'm gonna drill a small pilot hole, and then we're gonna send that screw through. This is like a big balancing act because I don't have any clamps. All right, so that's the first side piece in. I have about 5 screws into the bottom here. Wood glue is still drying and pretty sturdy. So just rinse and repeat 2 more times. Alright, so the basic layout of the box is all screwed in. Each panel has 5 wood screws in it. So now the next duty is to measure from this point to this point, as there is an angle now, and we'll cut the top piece to match perfectly. Okay, so all finished up here. Got the top piece finally on, and everything is looking great. Super sturdy. So now we're gonna throw it in the car, make sure it fits, and my lovely girlfriend Brooke will be helping me. Okay, flip it. I'm just gonna set it here for a second. All right. Sweet. That's gonna be about there. Okay, so there it is. It's in and it fits perfectly. Super snug, right up to the back of the seats there. Okay, so we're on day 2 now of the drawer system build. So for today's goal, I am hoping to get both the drawers built. I haven't bought the sliders for the drawer yet, but I have found the exact ones that I needed. The nice thing about it is I do have the specifications for the size of the sliders. So I'm gonna know how much I need to space this out for the drawer so that the slider fits in nicely and snug. So the first drawer we're going to be working on is the main storage drawer, and then we'll get started on the kitchen drawer. This is going to be the easier one, so I wanted to just do that one first to see how the process goes. Like I said, this is my first time doing any of this, so we'll make the first drawer and then we'll get stuck into the little bit more complicated kitchen drawer. So a big part of this is I want it to be removable. So I want to have easy access to the mounting points back here. I measured last night and it's about 30.5 inches. I'm gonna make the drawers about 28 inches long, as that's the closest I could find with a drawer slide. So I think that should work well if I ever want to remove it in the future. And it gives me a little bit more cubby space behind the seats for things that I might not need all the time, but should carry with me when on an overlanding trip. Okay, so just got this piece fully cut out now, so that's about the exact size that I need it. Just a couple of scrap pieces in here to show me my gap for the slides, and I think that should be enough space. Good on each side. So now we'll get to cutting the side pieces and the front and back pieces as well. First test fit, open for the best here. Very nice. Okay, so now that I have one drawer built, it's kind of the perfect case scenario now, because the second drawer is going to be a little bit more tricky because there will be a slide out table underneath it. Pretty much my idea is my slide out table is going to be around 20 inches long, so the same width as this. All I'm going to do is cut this down to the size I need, which is going to be 17 inches. And then that will sit just about 2¼ inches up on the side piece here. And that will allow us to mount 2 extra sliders in the bottom. And then we can slide out our table. Because 20 inches isn't the full length, I'm gonna have an extra around 8 inches on the back here. So I wanna maintain that space that we have, and I'll build out just a little extra tub in the bottom here for extra space on the second drawer. Okay, so just a little check-in here. So we have the first platform, once again, up around 2¼ inches, just so that there's enough room for a slide out table under here. I have just cut 2 more pieces. First one will fit in just like that. Brings it down right to the bottom there. And then my second piece fits right into there. So we have a little bit extra space. It's around 7 inches, but I will take all the space I can get. But super happy with how this is looking. These pieces are fitting in perfectly. Now I just guess we'll see if it fits. All right, so we are back. It's day 3 now. So my drawer size finally came in. They fit perfectly. I measured them last night right after they arrived. So these are 28 inches long. I'm still waiting on 2 more for the slide out table. Those are 20 inches long. So I got some bed liner. We're gonna bed liner the whole thing today. Hopefully the rain stays away. Just been kind of coming in periodically throughout the day today, but looks like we got a good gap that we can start spraying. And we're gonna be starting on some finishing touches. So I'm just making some cardboard mock-ups of some pieces to fill in the gaps here. So those will fit in somewhat like that. Just getting a rough idea for how I need to cut it. Now I don't have a jigsaw, so I'm hoping I'll be able to cut it with this. Don't know. Probably gonna be a lot of sanding, but yeah, I guess let's get started for today. Okay, so I just moved the drawer system out of the car and over here just to prevent any overspray from happening on the truck. So I've never used this Rust-Oleum truck bed liner before, but I mean, it's a freaking huge can. Apparently it covers more surface area per spray, but I'm just going to use it the same way I use normal spray paint. Apply a light coat to start, and then you can fill in 100% on your second coat and third coat. So we'll do a time lapse and get this thing sprayed down and looking good. Okay, so let them dry for a couple hours now. I really want to get started on installing the drawers, so we got the drawer slides mocked up a little bit right now. Pretty much all I'm doing is adding 1 washer underneath it just to hold it up a little bit. I'm going to mark off the mounting holes in here, and then we'll drill a pilot hole and then screw it in with some high performance particle board screws. So before I drill my pilot holes, I just want to make sure that I'm not going to drill all the way through the side of the plywood here. So what I've done is just put a little bit of tape on the drill bit. That way I have a guide that is the exact same height as the screw I'm using. Okay, so I feel like I've spent what feels like an eternity trying to install these drawer slides. They're a little bit tougher than I thought they would be, just to get everything matching and perfectly spaced out. I thought it was perfect. Turns out it's even a slight millimeter off with the margins that I'm playing with here is a lot harder than I thought it would be. But anyway, I'm gonna take a little bit of a break from it because they're pretty much done. Might have to sand the back of this one a little bit. It's just touching a smidge. However, let's get the base mounted in now that we have all the hardware and everything. And yeah, let's get to it. This should be pretty easy. Everything's lined up already. So we'll just slot the bolts in there and then get this thing anchored solid into the car. I'm gonna start working on the front plates here. I've already sanded down. I just wanted to get a measurement for the cutout that I'm gonna have to make for these handles to poke through, and then we'll sand it, and then we're gonna stain these pieces. I decided I want to try to stain them first before I paint them. If it looks terrible with the stain, then I'm just gonna paint it black. It's gonna be the same stain that I used on my drop-down table. It's a little bit dirty right now, but I think it will look nice. I got my slide out table cut out, that's the bottom there, but going to mount them on the sliders. And then Brooke last night stained the front pieces for me. They look really good, and the little supporting pieces are all done too. So we'll bolt those up as soon as we finish with the table, and then that's pretty much the whole base built. All that's left is just the finishing touches, filling in the sides with some trim pieces. Okay, so we have it to a point where it's pretty much functioning now. Table slides out perfectly, locks into place. And there's enough space here to stand behind this table and in front of this table. I'm gonna take a little bit of a break from the slides. I'm going to work on finishing up these front pieces here, so we'll attach them, just have them shimmed out with a couple of washers on the bottom here, and yeah, we'll drill some pilot holes and screw these in. I just finished up making these trim pieces. They will fit perfectly into these slots here. Just like that. So paint them black, and then I have some L brackets that I'm just gonna mount to the side of the base and then to this thing. So I've never been a big fan that this has to be two-handed operation to open. So I bought some aluminum angle at the hardware store. My plan is to attach this piece to both the existing handles, just so that we now can open it with just one hand, and you get a little bit better leverage than just using the two small handles. So I'm going to be using the hardware that the sliders sent with me, so that's a perfect size there. However, we're going to need a flat surface to put the nut onto, so I'm going to grind this down just to where the threads are showing. Perfect. This is our final product. So we have our main storage drawer, and here the handles make it really nice for one-handed operation. They close just as easy. And then our kitchen drawer is in here. And our slide-out table. I am super happy with how this turned out. It looks amazing. Everything works perfectly too. So there's still a bit more that we can do to refine the look a little bit better. In the future, I plan on making some flaps for here, just so that we have a little bit extra hideaway cubby storage. I like the bed liner, but I'm thinking it'll be a lot nicer just having some sort of mat that we can put over top of this. Because we have a dog and we're doing trips very often, it'd be nice to have something that I can pull out and wash and put it back in, rather than some sort of permanent solution like this, because I see this is already getting pretty dirty. I think the biggest thing that I am probably going to do to this is make some sort of tabletop for this section here, because you can't really go wrong with more counter space. I'm gonna save all that for a separate video, and I'm ending this one off here. Brooke and I are leaving tomorrow for a 9-day overlanding trip out in the Rocky Mountains, where this thing will get put through its paces. I'm super excited for that, and I'm gonna be filming the entire trip, so stay tuned for that video. It's gonna be a good one. But if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. I put a lot of time and effort into this thing over the last 3 weeks, trying to make it exactly how I wanted it to, and I think it's just come out perfect. But with that, I'll catch you guys in the next video.